was a steamy day in July. Me and my friends decided to go down to the train tracks in our hometown and smoke a little reefer. This day was a bit different than most, because it wasn't day at all. In fact, it was night, around 3 a.m. in the winter. But this day wasn't like any winter day, mostly because it wasn't winter at all. It was mid-autumn or spring, I think. It's hard to recall because it was so many years ago, but I remember it like it was yesterday. We were down by the tracks doing drugs when suddenly, all of a sudden, my friend looked at me and said, "What was my line again?" Needless to say, I was speechless. I had no idea what was happening. Then, all of a sudden, somebody yelled, "Cut!" and snapped one of those stereotypical black and white film things in front of the camera. The only problem was I never remembered bringing a camera or a stereotypical black and white film thing you snap in front of the camera to signal the end of a scene. I sat simply astounded at the sight of acclaimed movie director Christopher Nolan as he walked quietly from behind the camera and proceeded to break my friend's neck in anger, whilst all my other companions watched in awe and fear. I was scared out of my knickerbockers and thought about running, but then I noticed that there was a 10-foot electrical fence surrounding the perimeter of the tracks. At this point, I thought I was dreaming, so I started to pinch myself to wake up. I woke in my bed next to my wife. I let out a sigh of relief to know that this dream was all over. I rolled over to look my wife in the eyes. She was turned around, so I shook her to see if she was awake. She didn't get up, so I assumed that she had a hard night and was tired, so I went back to sleep. Then I woke up again several hours later, and she was still asleep in the same position. I shook her yet again, and she said, "Honey, wake up. I'm hungry and was thinking bacon and egg." Cut! Somebody snapped the thingy in front of the camera. I looked up to the foot of my bed to see Christopher Nolan wearing a lab coat and a gas mask. He crawled into bed with me and my wife and cuddled up to my tummy. I let out a single scream of terror as I saw him reach into my wife's anus and pull out a rope and begin strangling her with it. I tried to stop him, but I couldn't. He had superhuman strength and a fashionable lab coat. I quickly jumped up and put on my dungarees and ran to the door. I threw open the door in terror and despair and ran to my fuel-efficient Ford Focus and got out and got as far away as I could. -7 years later, I woke up with a start. Had a bad dream about the events that had unfolded 7 years ago on this day. I had moved to Brazil for some reason instead of calling the cops. I got out of bed and started to make coffee. I opened the top of the coffee maker where you put the filter in, and there was a big old lobster in it. I reached out its big red claws and pinched me on my thumb. I awoke in a hospital. I had no idea what was going on, and I didn't care as long as they kept the morphine coming. Anyway, a nurse explained to me that a couple days ago at a pool party, I had jumped into the pool with nearly 20 hits of acid in my back pocket, and I had been in a coma ever since. I let out a sigh of relief and told the nurse, "I've seen some stuff. My coma was more like a big bunch of bad dreams." The nurse then said, "Why don't you write a story about it on CrappyPasta?" Then she leaned real close, like as close as people get to the salad bar sneeze guard, and whispered in my ear, "Cut."